I just want to say, come here, man. This is my guy right here, man. Look, I just want to say, first of all, you were saying in the freestyle about, you know, they handed you the bronze and whatever, me and Kendrick. I just want you to understand something. You are genuinely, without a doubt, one of the greatest rappers to ever touch a
To be the top 3 of hip-hop is, like, phenomenal. But where J. Cole is at, it's like J. Cole has zero desire. Like, zero. He don't even want to be 2. I'm 3rd. J. Cole, you neck to neck with the you calling them legends. Like, play this. You would have to take breath out of Kendrick before he has a moment like that with Drake. No. He would never do that. He would never do it on record. He would never allow Drake to walk on a stage and basically talk to him like, yo, no, it's okay. Yo, I know people are trying to make you feel bad about being 3rd, but you're one of the best too. Like, nah, Kendrick not letting that happen.
If there's anything that's unusual in hip-hop, it's self-depreciation. Built on bravado and arrogance, hip-hop is a sport in which the cocky prosper and the shy are forgotten. Based on the days of battle rapping where the goal was to prove your superiority while humiliating your opponent, it's not uncommon to hear rappers make outlandish proclamations of their own abilities. Little more than 2 major projects into his career, Polo G was already labeling himself as the GOAT. Similarly, rappers such as Jay-Z and Lil Wayne were dubbing themselves the best rapper alive long before the culture identified them as that. So when J. Cole seemed to be purposefully eliminating himself from all the endless debates over who's at the top out of him, Drake, and Kendrick in the modern era, the world was taken aback. On the remix of Drake's Pipe Down that he termed Heaven's EP, Cole took a back seat to the concept of them being on equal standing, going as far to suggest that they're a tier above him. Some people say that I'm running 3rd, they threw the bronze at me. Behind Drake and Dot, yeah, them is superstars to me. Happy to turn over the keys to the kingdom where most rappers would defend them, even if they had no real claim to it, J. Cole's tactic has left audiences, and even his fellow MCs, taken aback. Offered with no real supporting evidence, it only seems right that we evaluate this claim to see whether J. Cole is being extremely self-aware, or in reality, is not being entirely fair to himself. While art is something that's subjective and not really measurable in data, the only logical metric to determine a number 1, 2, and 3, although in a strictly logical way, would be to look at their commercial feats. And while we would have said record sales in previous eras, today, it's all about streaming numbers. When it comes to who has the biggest hit, it's probably no surprise that Drake has both Cole and Kendrick handily defeated. After all, he is recognized as the top-selling digital artist of all time. Not just the biggest out of the 3 of them, but the 2nd most streamed hip-hop song in Spotify history, Drake's One Dance, boasts well over 2 billion, while God's Plan also has Kendrick pipped to the post with 1.7 billion. As for K-Dot's biggest track, he notched the biggest hit of his career with Damn's lead single, Humble, coming in at an impressive 1.3 billion. In this arena, Cole most definitely takes home the bronze. Taken from 2014 Forest Hill Drive, No Role Models is his biggest track with 870 million. And while this would handily defeat 95% of the artists out there, in terms of commercial draw, Cole is behind his 2 contemporaries. In terms of monthly listeners, Cole similarly finds himself falling short of his peers. Once again, Drake and his penchant for massive hit singles comes out at 55 million. In 2nd place, we have Kendrick, who's kept an average of 30.2 million without having to release an album since back in 2017. And when he does, you can expect that number to skyrocket. Yet despite dropping the offseason in 2021, J. Cole is still pulling in fewer listeners than K-Dot with 26 million. But where things are wildly disproportionate on streaming services, the Billboard album charts find themselves fairly evenly matched. While Drake and J. Cole both ascended to the top spot on their first attempt, once Kendrick got there, he never left. At present, Cole, who is rumored to be on the first installment of a trilogy that'll conclude with The Fall Off, has 6 #1 albums to his name and has never once missed that mark. And while that alone would be enough to immortalize him, it's notable that 3 of them have the unique distinction of going platinum without features. Including albums, assorted mixtapes, playlists, collab projects, and other variations on the format, Drake has 10. While for Kendrick, he has 4 if you include Untitled Unmastered and the Black Panther soundtrack that he oversaw. But as we know, volume doesn't necessarily equate to quality, and for artists such as J. Cole, the ability to make it to #1 is a commendable feat, but doesn't necessarily represent his talents or intentions as an artist or cultural figure. Plus, while Cole is happy to condemn himself to that 3rd place spot, and the legions of those who call him Jay Snore will absolutely be overjoyed about it, one important thing to bring into the equation is that it's not representative of how he's viewed in hip-hop, because in the eyes of his peers, he's a one of one. Among the men that he mentioned on Heaven's LP, Drake has no intention of accepting Cole's concession speech.
I gotta say this just because, you know, you did that pipe down freestyle the other day, right? And you were saying in the freestyle about, you know, they handed you the bronze and whatever, me and Kendrick. I just want you to understand something. You are genuinely, without a doubt, one of the greatest rappers to ever touch a And I want to let you know, it's way too many people in the world that think and know that J. Cole is at top on the pole position.
Not just limited to those in his generation, rappers from across the hip-hop spectrum are on hand to not just sing Cole's praises, but fight in his corner for any of the gaps in his trophy cabinet. Speaking of Vlad TV, after the 2015 Grammys, Killer Mike took issue with Cole's historic streak of being overlooked by the gatekeepers of awards that lasted right up until 2020, when he and 21 Savage scooped Best Rap Song for A Lot.
I feel J. Cole should have walked some Grammys, man. The fact that he did a whole album, no features, the fact that he really did what Nas did on his first record. I think that J. Cole met a certain standard by doing that. I think that he brought attention away from the hype of who are the features. I think he brought attention away from the hype of who are the producers, the hype of is it on this record label or not, and he put the hype firmly on the meat of the record.
Through Mike's viewpoint, we see Cole's true value starting to come into perspective. As while Kendrick can educate the world and Drake provides the hits, Cole expands the boundaries of what contemporary hip-hop can entail. Despite Cole name-dropping him in an arguably unfavorable way on Fire Squad, Slim Shady has never had anything but praise for Jermaine. As late as December 2020, Eminem gave an important distinction to claiming, "I know a few from this era that are lyrically insane, and although most are never gonna hit the level Cole or Weezy at." Hailing from the grittier side of the industry, it would be understandable if an MC such as the Lox's Styles P didn't really acknowledge Cole's skills. But on the contrary, the hard-edged New Yorker has actually been one of the men that's leading the charge for Cole to be viewed right alongside K-Dot in terms of the most skilled rappers in the game.
J. Cole is right next to Kendrick.
That's fine.
No disrespect.
No.
Y'all are bugging, dog.
He's on the same
J.
tier.
Cole is nice, man. I don't care how boring they say he is, whatever. For somebody to be able to sell that story
Yes.
repeatedly, that's amazing, dog. That's like I mean, I'm a big J. Cole fan, actually.
tell, and I love
I'm a big Kendrick fan also.
No, but Cole's
it
amazing.
bothers me. I don't see where y'all got Kendrick a notch over Cole. Like
He doesn't.
that's not flying.
But
with me.
Styles, your man Mouse
That
doesn't
ain't
think.
fly. Like that's the same tier of rap.
Although he may have been surpassed commercially, it's gotta be noted that as an ambassador for hip-hop at large, Cole's reach exceeds them in other ways. Alongside his partner in crime, Ibrahim Hamad, Cole's Dreamville label has created a haven for artists who don't necessarily meet all the criteria for commercial acceptance to create meaningful and resonant art. Not to mention, assembling one of the most talented posses hip-hop has ever seen for the Revenge of the Dreamers 3, which saw MCs of all levels of success drop everything in order to contribute to Cole's vision. As for the artists on his label, what he's provided them is irreplaceable. A student of hip-hop culture like few others today, footage of him giving advice to Jid and Earth Gang in 2015, long before they signed to his imprint, shows the true duty of care that he feels for the rap game.
Think about Atlanta, they think about super trap, they think about, Future, which Future is the guy right now in that world and in that lane, but it's like, them kids you seen at that show tonight, them 3,000 kids, and then there was thousands more that didn't make it in, they actually relate more to y'all. But to an outsider, to me, that's not from here, just a hip-hop fan, I'm like, these only knew these records right here is really painting that picture and giving that vibe. And so when you talk about an album that's more impact, I'm hearing more like them records. If y'all ever need help, you know what I mean, and y'all feel like, man, let me get this here, I'm here, so just hit me.
Although others have made the case for Cole's place in hip-hop after his admission of defeat, this isn't a pity party. And through another view, those bars from Heaven's EP aren't really a case of him waving the white flag whatsoever, but simply the rapper acknowledging a vantage point that exists in the culture. As with maturity, he's learned to focus on creating his art to the best of his abilities, rather than striving to live up to any expectations or jostling for position with others. Speaking to Kevin Durant and Eddie on the ETCs, Cole explained that while he uses his peer as motivation, he doesn't allow that to cloud his judgment anymore.
These are the guys that push you and you got to push them. I was so competitive early on that, like, even though we were all friends, I've never been a reach out, you know what I mean? Like, I never been that person, you know what I mean? Especially when there's competition involved. As I gotten older, I realized that, like, yo, actually, no one is truly my peer or can relate to what I'm going through in life more than these people right here. Nobody can really relate to that like these dudes. And I really genuinely for these dudes.
Teamed with this explanation from Cole, it seems like this headline-making line on Heaven's EP was a simple case of his philosophy being placed in rhyme format for the first time. No stranger to saluting his own talent, make no mistake, Cole knows he's great. Just months ago, he unveiled his hip-hop Mount Rushmore, and sure enough, all 4 spots belong to him. And as for bravado, you don't need to look no further than this campaign video from 2019 that rounded up some of his greatest accolades.
The country needs a hero to turn to in these turbulent times. Jermaine Cole is that hero. You may know him from his recent feature run. He is a man whose humility knows no bounds. A man with a pen so potent Each word of his verses reportedly costs $2,000.
Likewise, on the off seasons applying pressure, he didn't shy away from the fact that he was showing off his skills purely to let other MCs know that they couldn't conceive of being on his level. Opting for a level-headed approach rather than false conflicts or fighting losing battles against those who don't see him as one of the elite, Cole's bronze medal line isn't about accepting defeat or taking any loss. Instead, it's about focusing on his own wins and the audience that accepts him for who he is as an artist. Because when you consider the niches that they all cater to, there's no reason why Kendrick, Drake, and Cole can't all be the best. They're simply the best in their own individual lanes that they've created for themselves.